When it comes to the opening scene of a TV series, we expect to see a scene that will set up the tone of the entire season. But the opening scene of the final season of Mr. Robot has managed to do so much more than that. If you haven't seen and finished Mr. Robot, please watch the entire show first and then watch this video. This video will contain spoilers from the entire season, and trust me, you do not want to ruin your experience. The series began with a recap blending perfectly into a new scene. It started exactly from where Angela and Philip Price's conversations left off. What is interesting here is that the conversation seemed to be over between them in the previous season. Last time Angela realized that she has been conned by White Rose, Philip Price reveals a big secret, and when Angela asks Price for revenge, it wasn't even held as a cliffhanger. Price was pretty clear with his answer. He said no. What more can this conversation offer other than maybe some information only Angela knew? Or maybe she can change Philip Price's mind. So when I was expecting nothing much, this happened. The expression on Angela's face says it all. She saw the enemy. And we know this enemy very well. We know if she's seeing them, she has no escape, and this can only lead to her death. But for some reason, I thought she will survive. Because it's Angela. Angela started off as a naive love interest of our hero, but by the end of season 1 she gained a much bigger and influential part. She became the lead of our own separate story and pretty much dominated season 2 and 3. What made her even more unique was that she was never really sugar-coated with sweet moments to make her likable. She cares about Elliot, doesn't show it. She wants to pay her father's debt, but does it in a way that her father feels she's getting something off of that. She wants to tear down Evil Corp from the inside, but pretends she has now become one of them. She doesn't care if she's hated, cause in her mind what she's doing is the right thing to do. In the end she died because she refused to let to live with the huge casualties White Rose has caused and do nothing about it. Whether people like this tough cookie or not, we all expect to see more of her in season 4. We expect to be wrong about Dark Army and see her survive. But what happened next was both incredibly shocking and understandable at the same time. Angela was shot dead. Camera slowly moved away with Price, telling us to leave our expectations and walk away as well. This series has always surprised fans killing off popular side characters. But this scene has set the bar so high that from here on any main character faces a death threat, we cannot relax thinking he or she will not be killed off with this many episodes left. We genuinely fear for their lives. Even when the character is our lead, Elliot Alderson himself. In the end of the first episode, Elliot was nearly killed and left to die alone in his own apartment. For a nanosecond, I thought, are we going to see a final season of a show without the lead character of the show? Cause if someone can do it, that would be Sam Esmail, the creator of Mr. Robot. If he can kill off Angela, this can be the next craziest step left for him to take. This is how effective the opening scene was. It sets the final season apart from all the previous seasons by raising the stake to a no-returning level. But that's not all. What kind of reaction we expect from the fandom when an important character dies? Fans of the character mourn her death, but Angela's death haunted the show throughout the entire runtime of season 4, and even after the finale. This scene managed to be so shocking that people didn't believe it actually happened. People didn't believe this to be the end of Angela, at least not this early. The expectation from this character made many of the fans question what was shown in front of us, and they came up with an explanation above our knowledge of the show. Either Angela's death isn't the end of Angela, or Angela didn't die. Death is not the end of Angela because she's going to come back through time travel or from a parallel universe. This is why she was killed off in the beginning of the show. But yes, the opening scene is only the tip of the iceberg on all the other strong but subtle foreshadowing of the possibility of a sci-fi ending. The other theory that Angela isn't dead is one of the most talked about points within the Mr. Robot fandom. Throughout the entire season, someone from somewhere always came up with the questions, where is Angela? Is she really dead? Or theories of how Angela and Dark Army has faked her death. Even actor B.D. Young has tweeted about this phenomena, define dead, to which someone brilliantly replied, makeup. This wasn't only the 1% of the craziest 1% of the fandom. It was a good number of people who thought Angela was kept alive. For a long time I was among those people who actually accepted Angela's death and sometimes joked about the theories of her being alive, until White Rose decided to play a little game with us. In episode 9, Mr. Robot and White Rose got to talk to each other over the phone. White Rose, desperate to win Elliot over, tried to gain his trust by promising that he can take him to Angela. Now, we know White Rose is 1. Delusional, 2. Liar, 3. Desperate to win, and 4 running out of time. She's obviously trying to trick Elliot. But for a second I thought, what if she's telling the truth? Again, I want to be wrong about Dark Army. I want to be wrong about White Rose. I want to see that Angela somehow survived. For those few seconds, my logical brain was put to rest and my emotions took over. What I wouldn't do to have Angela united with Elliot. Is it too late to see Elliot's dream come true? We often see mysterious stories to come around to the point where they started. Often the part of the story we thought ended in the beginning comes back to begin the end. Many times the characters who died in the beginning were proven to be not dead all along. And we know Mr. Robot has been brutally close to reality. But many of us, for those fractions of seconds, allowed ourselves to hope White Rose might be telling the truth. Until Darlene woke us up and brought us back to reality. This is how Sam Smell subverted expectations twice, with one storyline without even trying too hard. First killing of Angela in the beginning, and in the end keeping things this way. And I believe the reason Angela's death was able to put such an impact has a lot to do with it being the opening scene of the show. This could easily be put into the final episode of season 3. Or Angela's death could be shown somewhere in the middle by stretching Angela's story a little further, or even through flashback, avoiding the chronology. If Angela's death was shown in season 3, it would make an epic finale. But there will be no speculations throughout the entire final season about her being alive. If Angela had more episodes in season 4 before she died, we would accept we've seen her full story. If Angela's death was shown in a later episode as a flashback, then it would be less mysterious and more like an answer. An answer to the fans' questions who would be asking, where is Angela? Now Tyrell was speculated to be alive even when his death took place in episode 4. But these speculations had a lot to do with the execution of the scene. There was still chance for him to survive if taken immediately to a hospital. The last time we see him, he walks away from the van, goes into a jungle, stops and stares at a peaceful purple light. The last we see of Angela, she is lying on the ground with a big gunshot wound on her forehead. Now, is there a better way to begin season 4? Let's see if any other scene is more suited to be the opening scene. I'm not strict about chronology, so any scene that doesn't heavily rely on the previous scene could be an opening scene. It could be the scene immediately after Angela's death. It could be the flashback scene where boy Elliot is hiding something. It could be the scene where we find out there's a third personality. And my favorite alternative opening scene? The entire flashback when White Rose loses her lover. All these are very good scenes which match the tone maintained in the entire season. But none of these scenes mean more now as an opening scene than they did before. On the other hand, Angela's death amplified and echoed throughout the season. When I first started this season, I was not happy to see Angela die. But I totally changed my opinion on this, seeing how death was not the end of Angela. Some of us hoped to see Angela come back in a small way similar to how Angela hoped to see her mother come back. In the end, real Angela never came back, but she lived on in the hearts of the people who loved her, including us, Elliot's imaginary friends, at least a big part of us who loved her as a unique character. Angela's death scene is the most impactful when it is the opening scene, and this is the best use of the opening scene itself, which is why I think it's the example of a perfect opening scene of a show. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if I'm wrong. Like if you like, share if you like, subscribe if you like.